Welcome to We Might Be Nerds, a podcast about everything from entertainment and technology to science and history. I'm your host, Dylan Critchfield.
And I'm Kyle Montgomery.
I'm Sarah Critchfield.
And I'm Jacob Montgomery.
Oh, we're recording right after the end of the Super Bowl 55. Might have been a good night for you, might have been a bad night for you. But at the end of the day, it actually brought to mind a topic that Kyle, Jake, and I kind of talked about a little bit in a side chat. But I want to just kind of bring it up. We had all these commercials about I guess it was Paramount announcing Paramount Plus. I had never heard of it before now. Are you guys familiar with whether it was new or not?
I think I had heard of it like one time, but then I saw the byline that said streaming March 4th. And I was like, yeah, I'll remember this like 2 or 3 months down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the latest in a cascade of new streaming services launching. You know, we had Disney Plus starting last year. Now Paramount Plus is a thing. Not to mention things like Discover Plus, ESPN Plus. A lot of pluses in these naming conventions, but I want to bring it up because
I guess that's better than a minus.
That's fair. I wanted to bring it up because it seems very much like a step backwards now that we're getting all these streaming services. You know, Netflix really started getting big early in the 2010s. And everybody switched over to streaming. You know, you could watch everything basically in one place. Netflix had almost everything, and then Amazon Prime started their video service. And it really reduced piracy, most importantly. You know, Gabe Newell said in a 2011 interview with The Escapist that the main thing that drives piracy is a service problem. And recent studies, as recently as 2019, a New Zealand study showed that piracy is largely driven by a lack of availability or costs being too prohibitive for consumers to be able to justify the price. You know, a lot of the piracy we saw in the late 2000s, early 2010s was honestly anime focused until Crunchyroll, solved that problem, made those things legitimately available. And there were a lot of fan sub-communities up until that point. But now we're seeing the rise of all these streaming services, and I can't help but wonder if it's just cable 2.0. You know, I know people for a long time were like, I wish I could get my the channels on my cable subscription a la carte, just pick the ones that I want. Well, now we can do that, but I have to wonder, is it too much, and is the cost for what most people want to watch too much? Is it too fragmented, I guess, is the question I'm asking.
That depends really on your viewing habits. I would say having a structure like this, on one hand, you're paying for all these little bits, but I know that there are ways that can be managed where the monthly, like your monthly payments of everything will come out as like, you know, one lump sum if you group all of those through one, like a service. I'm trying to remember the name of the service, but it's escaping me at the moment. But having all those together and being able to pick and choose really helps curtail your experience in watching something. Instead of having something delivered to you, you're having a complete on-demand experience. I mean, and that's just, in saying it's cable 2.0, it's hard to compare the two because the experience provided is simply apples and something way other than oranges. So,
I understand that, and I'm not minimizing the value of an on-demand service at all.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that we can watch things on demand being the norm now for a lot of entertainment, anything that's basically not live, I appreciate that, and I recognize the inherent value in it.
And frankly, we're quite spoiled by it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying, having a service to bundle them together, how's that any different from cable packages we had before streaming became a thing?
It's true.
How do the prices compare, especially, adjusted for inflation? I bet that's pretty close.
Well, the big difference would be you'd actually get to pick what's in your package versus cable, where you had the packages selected by the provider, where you'd end up with one or two channels you actually wanted, and then a whole bunch of garbage.
Fair. That said, like, Disney Plus, for example, I feel like we're at a middle ground. I'm not saying that it's inherently bad that these streaming services are coming up and providing content that may not be available. That's not a problem at all. But I do think it's going to start driving piracy up because for a lot of people to watch the stuff that they like, it is cost prohibitive again. Because it's not all in one place. We were in the position, not 10 years ago where almost everything was in one place on Netflix. You could watch almost anything on Netflix or Amazon Prime between the two of them. Now it's super fragmented, but it's almost as if it's not fragmented enough, which I know sounds odd, but like, for example, Disney Plus. We have Disney Plus here, and most of what Sarah and I watch is shows, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm being completely honest, all the movies that are available there, I could do without. If I could get Disney Plus only television and not have access to any of the movies and have a lower cost, that would honestly be more attractive to me. It's like we're in this awkward middle stage where it could be, like, if you're going to have them broken up into separate things,
so break them up
in a way where break it up in a way where people can get the thing that they want for a lower cost instead of forcing them to get the whole thing. Which again brings us back to the cable package problem. I don't want all the movies from Disney Plus personally. I would rather have access to just the shows. If it were just me purchasing it. Same thing with like Amazon Prime Video. I don't really watch any of the movies they have available. There are a select few shows I've watched. But the failure to divide different types of content and forcing everybody to pay a higher price, to me, is a cable 2.0 situation. Because, yes, I can get everything that's available from this publisher, but maybe I don't want everything from them. And with piracy on the rise again, is that the solution to the problem? Or is the solution to go back to how it was, where everything was just in one big bag? I don't think the publishers or the IP owners are going to play ball with that because of the fees that they had to pay to get on the platform, cuts, and all that. But, like, if you're going to subdivide it, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's cost prohibitive for the average person to watch all the things that they want because they can't have everything for the low price we used to be able to get it for. So people are going to turn to piracy again.
Yeah, I don't see these conglomerates letting go of their rights or, having to license out everything. I don't feel like they're going to let go of that anytime soon because, there's just too much money to be made with it regardless of piracy. So I feel like that this is a problem that's going to last much longer than you or I would anticipate. But I'd be interested to see how this is going to continue. If it were me, yeah, I can absolutely see the merits of having a broken down system. Having something where, you have access to a certain portion of a company's assets for maybe $2. Even if it's ad supported, I don't care. $2 seems pretty darn attractive to start building a package that is all your own.
Absolutely.
And considering how much, whenever I watch Hulu or Netflix or Disney Plus, how much that I don't see, especially in the terms of how much you're paying in a month, it's pretty staggering how much material is there to have to work through to actually get what might be someone's money's worth, especially if there is a certain section that someone just won't watch at all. There's just so much of a difference in value per person that I think having a model like what you were talking about, where everything is broken up, I could see that working. But once again, with all of these different conglomerates, and production companies, I know, is Warner Brothers they're doing their own pretty soon,
they're on like
right?
HBO Max right now. A lot
Oh,
of
is that where
Warner
they're-
Brothers stuff? Yeah.
But yeah, they have to do everything through HBO Max, and they would probably, I would imagine, pull from that and have their own. That way, it is direct from them to you, no middleman. And yeah, there's just going to be a lot of that going on. And I hope that we see a system like yours, but
I mean, it doesn't have to be that exact system.
No, but I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like going forwards, like Disney could do, especially Disney Plus, since it's so new. I mean, they don't have like a ton of like a catalog from stuff that started after Disney Plus became a thing. So I think like to entice people to sign up for it, that's why they just loaded it with like all their like back catalog.
Yeah.
But like hopefully going forwards, yeah, it's like you can just stream their shows or something with, a lower cost package. Which is probably what's
here's something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Here's something I just thought of. Back in high school and through my college days, I had a track phone, right? Mm-hmm. Where you pay a bit to get a certain amount of minutes. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to, like, the inverse of that. Where, like, say for Disney Plus, I pay $2 for basic access to the network. And then you can add up a surcharge on that month, up to $8, depending on utilization. And, like, maybe the stuff that's hot right now adds a little bit more over time, but, like, maxes out at a certain point. And if you hit that max too many times, then it becomes more cost efficient to just pay the $8 a month. I don't see that being a bad thing. Usage-based billing isn't something I'm opposed to, as long as it was reasonable either. Because, how many months might I go not watching Disney Plus at all? Because there are only certain shows I want out of that in the first place. So utilization-based billing might be the way to go for a lot of people who are only using streaming services for one thing, rather than the whole cycle of subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe, during the cycles where the things that they want to watch are coming out.
However, I'm not sure... I don't really know a lot of companies that are wanting to use that kind of model for billing.
That's a lot to manage.
It's a lot to manage.
I'm not saying it's not a lot to manage.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it might be attractive to a lot of people.
It would not be an incentive for the company. It would be more, something that it can save money for someone else. And not that a company's not looking to gather more people through the promise of, maybe a lower rate. But still... actually having people go to that full, your example, a $2 to $8 rate, most companies would just say, maybe we just shouldn't worry about that. I like that idea too, and I could certainly see that working on a different basis. Actually, that reminds me a lot of the printer that I just got, which uses something called HP Instant Ink. You've heard of that?
No.
Yes. It's where once you run out, it will automatically order more if you want it to.
Yes.
If you set it up for that, it'll automatically ship you ink cartridges.
Yeah, and that's so much more beneficial whenever you are constantly printing stuff out. Like, that you're going to be printing things out on a normal basis. But for some people, that does not work at all. Like me. I go through spurts of having to print out a large amount of pages and then not print something for months on end. So something like that does not work for me. Buying individual cartridges works for me. So I could see as a model, like the prepaid cards and stuff like that, that might be something that works because, and having a limited amount of time to utilize Disney's services or Netflix's services. Like, say you buy a certain amount and you get like a week's worth of streaming.
What if they made gift cards where when you give them, the person redeeming the card can select like which show they want to watch, and they have access to watch that show maybe like 3 times per episode, because you can be like, hey, I saw this really cool show. I want you to watch it too. I know you don't have a subscription. Here's a gift card so you can come watch our show. And then we can talk about it.
That actually is a great idea because it solves the problem of people not having access to it. Like, that I could pay, let's say, like, I could pay $5 to give you, Kyle, a card to give you access to the show I'm watching. 5 might be a bit high, even considering the cost of these streaming services, but being able to hand that to you, giving you the limited access for just the thing you're looking for should you choose to redeem it, it solves the problem of the company still getting paid for their intellectual property, which is correct. You get the access, and you aren't out at all anything. And what I'm saying is the business gets paid, the potential customer gets a dip in of content, and at that point you can choose whether to subscribe or not. Because let's be honest, a lot of people are subscribing right now for, say, 2 months while Mandalorian airs, or for 2 months while WandaVision airs. Specifically with Disney Plus, and then they're unsubscribing. So, like, a model like I described it, like $2 a month and then pay by utilization, would be probably very attractive to those folks because they don't have to go through the whole subscribe unsubscribe hassle, which, like, it seems negligible on the surface, but if you can tell someone, hey, you can pay less, and still have access to it at any time, I think they would make the companies more money in the long run by people who are paying the lower rate and still maybe not utilizing it. But when they do want to utilize it in a time where they weren't before, they can hop on, pay for that usage, and everybody kind of wins. But that said, I do think especially with Disney, I'm only here for shows or I'm only here for movies type model would be ideal. It's a tough problem to solve, and there are multiple solutions that I think would both serve the consumer and the organizations better. It just feels like we're in an awkward, like, mid phase of the streaming game.
Well, everything's really awkward on the streaming platforms right now, coming from Netflix, who had everything. They had the licenses to everything, and now these other platforms are popping up because those licenses are expiring so they can hold on to their intellectual property again. But then you have all these other ones that are still in contract with Netflix, so they have to wait until that's up before they can have their hands on their own product again.
Or Amazon or other companies.
Yeah. We encountered this. We got Disney Plus, and our kids wanted to watch a show, and we're like, oh yeah, it's a Disney show. We'll pull it up on Disney Plus, and yeah. And we pull it up, and it wasn't there. And had to do some internet searching to find out why a Disney show wasn't on Disney Plus, and it was still under contract on Netflix, and we had to wait for that before the kids could watch it again, because we haven't had Netflix in about 3 years. Nothing against Netflix, it just didn't have what we wanted.
In general, I feel like these a third party service like Netflix is, which is so funny to even think of it that way. I just feel like anymore doesn't really deliver bang for buck, because I can't even remember how much a month's worth of Netflix is. It's what, $11.99 for?
It's almost $15 now, isn't it?
Oh my gosh!
Because it was like $7 when it first started streaming, and now it's like $15-ish.
Yeah,
which is a lot.
At those prices, you can't compete anymore. I'm trying to figure out where is really the value in this. I mean, other than maybe the original programming.
Like, I like the original programming, but it's getting to the point where, like, it's more cost effective to just buy the friggin' DVD box set and have it permanently than to, pay for the streaming service for the time to watch it. I mean, DVD box sets are cheap now.
They are.
And like, DVD quality is good enough for a lot of folks.
And the whole reason to go streaming was not having, your living room full of these physical DVDs. But if that's a more financially responsible solution, that may be the way to go.
I mean, there's a reason DVDs held on all this time. And it's like, people like television box sets. People like to rewatch, a certain show. Like, a lot of people like to rewatch The Office ad nauseum. Some people like NCIS.
Friends.
Some people... Friends. There's a lot of shows that people like to watch on repeat, and they want to buy that series. And I think Stranger Things is going to be one of those in the future. There are a lot of shows where it's like, I'll just wait for the box set because it's going to come, because DVD, against all odds, is still out there fighting, and it's still good enough to be able to just pop in and watch a show. If you really want to spring the extra, get a Blu-ray, because, again, you get to keep it for life. Or until the disc degrades because of disc rot, but that's a separate issue entirely. It's just, if things don't change on the streaming side soon, we're going to see the kinds of levels of piracy we did in the late 2000s, early 2010s, which were very high. And I would rather the people who make those properties be properly supported.
But I don't want to be gouged. That's all.
Nobody wants to be gouged.
No, I mean, that's all the incentive for it. So let's not gouge people, but let's support them.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying, Kyle, like, where's the value in Netflix with their licenses expiring and these other platforms taking back their material? Netflix doesn't have the content to really give the value anymore.
Yeah, they're losing value by day.
Yeah, and they need to, honestly, if they're losing all these licenses, they need to lower the subscription fee.
Absolutely.
To match.
No.
Yep.
And I understand that they built out the technology, they built out the platform. Like, everybody basically skated in on their laurels after they defined the technology and, built their own solutions to mirror it. Like, Netflix has a lot of data centers to pay for. I get it. But at the same time, they don't have the content to back it anymore. If they're going to be pretty soon mostly original content, that subscription fee needs to drop to match. So a streaming service that we use that's all original content, Dropout, which is based on College Humor, is what, $5 a month? It's
something like that.
Not expensive. It's all original content. We very much enjoy the content on that, service. But again, I'm willing to pay $5 a month for, generated content that is within a specific set of categories. Like, I'm willing to support a streaming service that is all original content, but I'm not going to pay almost $15 a month for the privilege, especially if I'm watching one or two shows on the service. That's, the cost benefit just isn't there.
Yep.
So,
how do y'all feel about ad-supported services like Crackle and Tubi and Vudu?
I don't have much experience with that. I have watched Crunchyroll with commercials, and I'm not a fan of commercials anymore. Like, I hate them with a passion other than the Super Bowl commercials. Like, I will straight up close a video if the ads are too, like, in your face or loud or annoying. It's just like, okay, I can find this somewhere else, maybe. Or I can just go watch something else.
Yeah, here I am sitting on my ad-supported Hulu.
Which, I mean, if you're okay with that, that's fine. Like, similar to that, I've played, the mobile games where you could pay to not have ads, or you watch the ads to get the content. I've done that, so I mean, I get it, but I'm just not an ads person anymore.
Honestly, I think it depends on the implementation.
Yeah, and I think those services, like, I've done a little bit of like IMDb TV, which is like the same as like Pluto and Crackle, and I think like the two things that annoy me the most is like it's always like the same 3 or 4 commercials.
Yes.
And like they don't really manage, like there's not like a showrunner, like, or somebody like the station like finding a good point to stop. So it's just like randomly, like in the middle of a scene, it'll just go to commercial. Like, unless it's like a movie that has like already been annotated, like this is when you need to get to commercials. So
I think that's why services like Crunchyroll work? Because anime is typically broadcast in Japan, and it has a break where there's meant to be a commercial break. We're watching Dragon Ball Z with the kids right now, and there's like a transition in the middle where it's obviously meant there was an ad break there during broadcast time.
Right.
And for services like those, it works to be ad supported because there's a distinct break and you can have a couple commercials and get back to your content. I think as long as it doesn't break the flow of content, it's fine. And like YouTube, actually, as much as I don't like the ads on YouTube a lot of the time, the fact that they give creators the ability to put the commercials at certain points in the video that are good breaking point, I think that has a lot of value to it. I mean, YouTube and the creator get the ad revenue, while the viewers don't get a broken user experience, assuming the creator's actually setting up those ad checkpoints and YouTube's just not vomiting ads all over it, which I've also seen.
Right.
Implementation is the name of the game with ad-supported content. I think I'm a fan of the fact that it's there. For me personally, I like to avoid ads at all costs on the internet for reasons other than just, not wanting to see them. Like, malvertising is a very real threat, and that's a very good reason to use an ad blocker in some instances. Of course, if you're using an ad blocker, you should whitelist the sites that you are visiting regularly and supporting. But, we've had cases over the past 10 years of people using JavaScript to mine crypto on client systems that are visiting a website, That's a whole nother discussion. But in general, especially if you're on a Fire Stick or a Roku or whatever, I think ad-supported content is a good option for those who don't want to pay extra for the privilege of not having commercials. I think it's a fine middle ground as long as it's done in a way that's not invasive or disruptive to the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And matching the ads to what the content is. I don't want my kids watching a show and getting horror movie ads. I've seen that too many times, and it's like, come on, guys. Yeah. At least look at what the content is and match an ad. If you want to, advertise Sesame Street in the middle of my kids watching something, at least I know I can leave the room and not have to worry about them seeing some slasher flick in the middle and saying, Mom, what is that? Why are they doing that? I don't want to have to answer that if I'm trusting my kids to be watching something.
Absolutely. And
especially a lot of parents do defer quiet time. Here, have the tablet, watch a show. It would be nice to know that the ads are going to be okay for their kids to watch.
That's another argument, especially if you're a parent, with a streaming service that has a function for kids to be able to watch their own content, you want to pay for the ad-free version, that's just a fact of life. But on the other hand, as much as I take issue with the tracking of certain companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, and the way we have ads tracking people, I think to a certain degree there is an advantage of that where you can serve ads that I'm not just annoyed by, in terms of a streaming service. And I wish they would utilize that if they're going to collect my data. Obviously, there's ways to block it, and if you really want to block it, you've looked into how to do that, and you're blocking those. But again, if you're collecting the data, don't throw me up ads for things I don't give a dang about. Please.
At least use it.
I don't want ads for makeup. I don't need makeup.
No one in this house really likes makeup. Are you sure you don't want makeup? Because I think we could set you up with a lovely eyeliner. Maybe a good foundation.
But me personally, that doesn't apply to me. I'm not trying to buy heels, and I mean, if you are, that's fine. But me personally, I don't want a lot of the things that I get ads for, especially on YouTube. And it's Google, I know you have my data. Use it if you're gonna have it.
But come on, Please. It's so good for your podcast. Everyone can see all these things,
Especially when you start getting those Wish ads, then they get really fun.
Oh, those are fun. That's a whole
Wish ads are good anyway. yeah.
Future topic: Wish ads. Send us your crazy ones, please, with screenshots.
Yeah, send
like
that to
this.
we might be nerds pod at gmail.com, please. I will make a blog post about it. Jake, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say like summarizing this whole thing. Like, I think going forwards, like this kind of pick and choose, not only like which streaming service or what parts of streaming services you want. Like, it sounds good to me, but like the cynical side of me thinks it's gonna turn into like, breaking out into like all these separate streaming services. And then it's going to end up where the internet providers negotiate with the streaming services to build packages. So it's just going to go like, a whole
Cable 2.0
It's a
again,
cycle.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and then, like lower the price that way by, you can get all these for, $70 a month. Or if you buy them piecemeal, it's going to be like 120. So
I honestly don't think it's going to go that way because, like, Disney owns their network. I don't think we're going to get back to, like, a full-on cable 2.0 situation. However, I can see if they do break it out to, say, Disney Plus movies, Disney Plus TV, that those two pieces independently, like, Disney Plus is, $8? It's probably going to be $6 and $6 rather than $4 and $4.
yeah.
But still, it's a lower monthly cost, and I think there's an advantage to offering it that way. Could it be lower? Sure, but it's still lowering the cost for people who want just that thing. And I think it'd work better for the company because people aren't pirating it, and it works better for the consumer because they can get access to it without paying what they feel is too much.
Yeah, I like the idea of being able to create your own package. On the flip side, it becomes a lot to manage, and it is, even now, very confusing to remember which shows you want are on which service. And as these streaming services splinter even more, that's going to get to be more of a nightmare to keep track of. Like, we're going to need a separate app just to track our streaming apps.
There are a couple of those.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean... Man, the days when Pigeon was the most we had to worry about consolidating our stuff.
Oh my god. You just made a Pigeon reference in 2020.
I did.
Yeah.
But,
I know it can be, it's confusing.
Yeah, because I know every time I want to watch a show, I'm like, I have to hop on Google, like, okay, which service has the show? So I can boot up the right app on our Fire Stick, because our Fire Stick is old and we have very much abused it, and it's dying.
Yeah, no, that's, whenever I search for that kind of stuff on Google, I tend to have ones that are left out, like streaming services that are left out of the equation, which is why some of these apps are actually pretty good at providing a large array of different services. And even sort them out to things like where you could buy them, where you can rent them, where you can stream them. I guess this will just be my plug for the day, but the one that I've used is one called Just Watch, where if I were to type in, for example, let's just go for...
Oh god, he's pulled out his phone.
Yeah, I know, I'm pulling out my phone. Another visual thing, huh? Okay, let's say you want to watch
Flight of Dragons.
Sure. How about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone? It has it where you can buy it for about $15 on various services, rented for $3.99 on like. At least Apple TV, Amazon, YouTube, Fandango Now, which I didn't even know was a thing, Vudu, Redbox, DirecTV, and AMC Theaters on Demand. But you can stream with ads instead on Peacock, so NBC's service will have that available to stream. And it's just as simple as putting in whatever you want to watch, and it pops up with these tiers. Now, it's not always going to have something where you can stream it, but hey, that might be something for the future. That's just, that's the company's things. So, yeah.
At the end of the day, I know there are some like types of content that are going to be available across multiple services, and at the end of the day, You can research which service has the kind of content you want and will be a best fit for you. But the fact that I have a list up on my screen right now that is the complete list of streaming services in 2021, it's 200 plus services, is a bit much.
Pay for all of them.
At the end of the day, it makes me want to just go out, buy DVD box sets, digitize the DVDs, and put them on my local Plex Media server.
Okay.
So that's what works for me.
This list, does it have a total monthly cost for all of them put together?
That's what I was going to ask
want
too.
to know.
Do the monster math.
Well, I know like YouTube TV on its own is like $50 a month or something.
Oh, yeah.
No,
And if you're doing
YouTube
TV, Sling, and Fubo, you're looking at like almost $200.
How much would it?
It's all nonsense words, Kyle.
Well, those are all the
every streaming service.
Discombobulated kerfuffle.
Okay, so
what streaming service is the Weather Channel on, Kyle?
The Weather Channel
Plus.
Plus Extreme.
And when it's cold, it's the
Premier.
Weather Channel minus.
Celsius. Yeah, minus.
Oh yeah, we've got Fahrenheit for at home and Celsius abroad.
Mm-hmm. Celsius on your cell.
So
nice.
This one has a list of some streaming services that's $684 per year to access. That's not complete.
No way.
Ooh.
What a deal!
It's like $50. A little over 50 a month.
Yeah, Google, if you were to buy all of these streaming services per month, how would it be?
There's a calculator. My Market Watch.
Holy crap, yeah.
We're doing this for you live.
You're getting too
Dylan
close.
does math.
All access, annual, commercial free. I'm going all ads plus I'm going like the big packages because this only has Netflix, CBS All Access, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Sling TV, Disney Plus, Apple TV, and YouTube TV.
Well, that reminds me, I need to cancel my CBS All Access because I use it to watch the Super Bowl and I use a trial.
Jake, I could have done it better. You should have used CBS Sports.
Yeah, it was free.
That's the app for it. Yeah.
That's another problem. There's too many different services.
Just for the basic, what is it?
That's the TV provider.
I am adding all the extra programming, though. The programming add-ons, I'll add all of those in. And the cost for a year is already, yikes. I'm not going to tell you guys until I've got the whole shebang.
But it's already at yikes.
Guys.
Where is it going to be?
Guys, he's doing the monster math.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not doing the math manually. Okay, it's doing it to 2 years, so let's divide this by 2. So that's a big number.
That's a very big number.
How many digits?
$4,252 for Netflix, CBS All Access, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Sling, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, and YouTube TV with all the additional programming. And it was only about 1,000 less without all the add-on packages, and that's annually. So if we divide that by 12
monthly, that
is $354 a month.
So cable.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, don't forget Prime, where you have to have a Prime membership in order to even access.
That accounts for it. It accounts for that. I did Prime annual.
That's the only reason I have Prime Video.
Oh wait, it actually reverted some of my options. Oh god.
So that's not even accurate, and that's not all.
No, it is.
Services.
It is. It's not all 200, but it's like the big ones. So
well, we will do this math and put it in the show notes because I have to know this answer, and I will be the nerd that makes the spreadsheet and calculates this.
I will put this link for the complete list in the show notes, along with a couple piracy studies that
are
show that it's driven by piracy is driven by availability and price. People prefer not to break the law, but if they want to watch something, people find a way.
Yeah, just don't redistribute it.
Nope.
No, that's how
Don't
you get
do
into
that.
the big house.
Yeah, but you wouldn't download a house.
Just be smart,
I have a 3D printer. I would download a house if I had one that was big.
Gosh.
That's a lot of materials.
That's a lot,
That's a lot of PLA.
filament.
Yeah.
Well, they're
Concrete.
concrete ones. Anyway.
Nice.
So yeah, no, I just seeing all those ads for the streaming services really, brought that to mind, and thank you guys for the fun discussion about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
I hate
know there
that.
were that many. I knew there were a lot,
Yeah.
but not that many.
So many.
There are a lot. No, but yeah, like the original streaming service we were talking about that brought up this whole thing was Paramount Plus.
Yes.
And under that is, I think Nickelodeon's part of that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about, and this is going to sound like only 90s kids remember, so I'm basically just regurgitating BuzzFeed stuff. But I just wanted to talk about like the most popular thing I think that was on Nickelodeon, which is slime.
Yep.
Slime.
Yes.
Nice.
Slime, or was it sometimes referred to as GAC, or was GAC a separate thing?
Gak was Oobleck.
No, yeah, from what I read, yeah, GAC was like their product they sold in stores.
Yeah.
Is what they called GAC. So, yeah, like the reason I want to talk about this, because I didn't realize how, I thought it was like late 80s, early 90s. I didn't realize slime had been around and called slime since 1979.
Ooh.
Really?
Yes, so the first official sliming, it comes from an episode of a show called You Can't Do That on Television.
Oh my gosh.
Which was like SNL, but for kids. So it's kind of like a precursor to
All that.
All that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a Canadian show, and yeah, in 1979 on TV station Ottawa, Canada. And yeah, there was like a bunch of different stories like I read, or like interviews with people that said like how it got started. The most popular one, and it's so weird that there's not like it's not that old, 1979, but there's like a bunch of conflicting details about this. They said that they were trying to just make like a bucket of like slop to dump on a kid during the episode. So it's like a bunch of food and stuff.
Oh, you're a kid?
Oh!
Apple cores, bread
No,
crumbs.
This is how we start childhood
Back
trauma.
off the mic,
Right.
Jake.
What? Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just so
It's all
excited.
I was excited.
Don't slime on the mic, man.
But yeah, so they had like prepared all this like slop of like food waste, but then for some reason they couldn't record that week, so it just sat there for a whole week, and then they were going to make a new bucket of it, and they didn't have time, and there was just like this green stuff on the top. And so they just dumped that on a kid. And yeah, I'm sure that kid's scarred for life.
Oh no!
Did this kid's family like sue the TV station for this
No,
trauma?
I'm not sure.
Obviously
I
not.
don't
They're
know.
probably
Oh
still
my
around.
god!
I mean, unless that slime
I
was
will
deadly.
look that up. Yeah, but like I said, a lot of people think it was just like a tall tale, and then it was actually just food coloring, and I'll get into it later, like all the different stuff that they do make slime out of. And so yeah, after it like aired on there, it would be like a recurring segment. Like kids would just randomly get slimed on that show, and I did read that they'd usually get paid like $25 or $50 extra an episode if they volunteered to get slimed.
And in the 80s, that was like $100 or so now. You know?
Right. Yeah.
If not more.
And so, yeah, like in 1981 then, like as Nickelodeon was just starting, they actually purchased You Can't Do That on television, and yeah, ran it some in the United States, mostly in Canada, and it really helped like pick up and grow the popularity of Nickelodeon.
Yeah, because like Slime's kind of core to the Nickelodeon identity that we knew in the 90s and 2000s. Like,
right,
the
especially
Oxy, as they call them. But like, yeah.
Yeah, especially when like they like, because I feel like they went into like over 50% like animated stuff like in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, like in the late 80s, early 90s, it was a lot of like kids like game shows.
And it was like an honor to get slimed, or on some shows it was bad to get slimed.
Right, yeah, it was either like an honor, yeah, because I think like
honor or dishonor.
Figure it out, it was a dishonor. Like if you like messed up trying to guess the kid's thing real bad, or you said a certain phrase, you got slimed. I'm not sure the details or specifics.
Yeah, I think you said the slime word and then you got slimed, and it could be any random word like it.
Oh, yeah, it's like anytime somebody, one of those things. If you say this word during, like, the word of the day is...
Slimed!
Yeah.
You said the secret word!
Yeah, instead of, like...
the sirens turn on, and then the ceiling opens up, and everyone's slimed.
I remember the pipe that had, like, the 4 dumping spots on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, yeah, it was, like, so, and then, like, I think on, like, Family Double Dare, it wasn't like you got punished, it was just part of, like, because Double Dare, like, there was, like, obstacle courses, or, like, you had to find a flag and, like, a giant, like, styrofoam nose, or paper mache nose that they would make, and, like, they used, like, the slime stuff in there, so it was just...
Yeah, What Would You Do was like that, too, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, there was another one called Wild and Crazy Kids, which I don't think I'd ever seen.
Oh, I remember that
was
one.
kind of before our time.
No,
yeah, that one was
they ran that one syndicated for years into my childhood, so I remember that one.
Yeah.
And there was one they did, like, between shows where it was good to get slimed. I don't remember what it was, just a short little thing.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, because I did read, that they would, like, it got so popular that, like, they used it, like, in their commercial bumps and, like, the interstitial, like, to fill in, like, 2 minutes, those kind of things. Or they just have like a super cut of like celebrities getting slimed. So, yeah, it was just I don't know. Slime.
Sticky.
Yeah, and like just to go back, the whole reason I thought of this is because we were talking about in the last podcast I was talking about lab grown meat, and it just reminded me of slime. Like I just talk about slime. So gross.
So answer me this: what the heck is slime like made of, like physically, chemically?
He teed it up. It's so good. Well, most of it is actually edible, though I don't think it would taste very good.
Probably not.
One of the most popular ones is just like instant vanilla pudding mix. So whatever, like water and the vanilla pudding, and then green food coloring.
It's just some viscosity. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was just like, I think I read it was just really easy to make on the spot, and a lot of, if you had like, commercial bags of instant pudding.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I totally remember that from like, once again, Figure It Out. Every once in a while, whenever they would get slimed, like one of the people that was there, like kind of realized it wasn't bad. If you got some,
and then they'd eat it.
And then, they would do it on purpose, and then just have it pour into their mouth. So I'm like, it can't be that bad.
Or like, like wipe it off their face and lick it. Like, it tastes like pudding. Yeah,
yeah.
It's just a green color. It's kind of off-putting. So as a kid, you're like,
or off-putting.
I know. I walk. But
I guess that's when they gotta really make it, figure it out, and change the flavor up each episode. Like, is this gonna be vanilla pudding, or is it gonna be shaving cream?
Right.
I don't think they had like recurring like contestants on a lot of those shows, though.
Figure It Out. They had a lot of the All That cast as well.
I guess
Figure It Out. Yeah,
and they would know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're around it so much. Yeah. And then another one was, I think this was like a little thinner. So like the pudding one's like, obviously it's gloopy. The thinner one's like cream of wheat and green food coloring. And sometimes they would put a little bit of baby shampoo in there.
That tastes a little,
I don't know if it helps like give it weird like bubbles maybe. And I saw another one that was like oatmeal and applesauce.
Oh, that one's much
food
better.
Coloring. That one would taste probably okay, but still,
probably.
I can't imagine having that poured on you.
it's
it
just
would
cold,
stink
wet.
after a while.
Yeah, that's
sticky.
the
Well,
thing.
what if it
Yeah.
wasn't cold? What if it was like room temperature? That would be
What if they
gross.
piped it in
Even
hot?
worse, yes.
If it was
Made it worse. It was already
hot.
bad.
If it was hot oatmeal.
It's like, ah!
Well, then you have a burn risk,
And there's
obviously.
slap
they couldn't
track
do that.
behind, some kid getting tortured. Like,
Scalded by oatmeal.
It just like
Poor-
cuts away to like a oops. We'll be back in a moment. The title card.
Commercial break. Hey, look, they're getting slimed on the commercial too.
Oh, God.
everything is
Someone
slime.
just shouting, "Who made it hot again?"
Yeah, no, a lot of the things, like when they were interviewing people in these articles I read, they said that the one thing that was surprising is how cold the slime was. So that's when you see people like kind of like tense up when they get it poured on them. You know, like if you get cold water poured on you, you're like,
So it's
Yeah.
not just the surprise
It
of it
sticks
impacting
to
you;
you.
it's actually physically cold.
yes. And
The
yeah,
fact
another
that
thing,
it's cold and it sticks to you is just so... Oh, the thought of it is so uncomfortable. Ugh.
yeah. So yeah, it's cold. And then like there was another person that said, if you ever get slime, here's a tip. Make sure to lean backwards because you don't want that going into your pants because it makes the rest of the day super uncomfortable when you're walking.
Slosh, gloop, gloop, glop.
Do they not have changing rooms or like an extra set of clothes or what's going on with
I
that?
would think you'd know,
No,
like going in, like,
showers?
hey, there's a chance you're gonna get slimed. At least prepare
Yeah.
an extra set of clothes.
I mean, they're
Tuck
on
your
like
shirt
the
in.
Universal Studio lot.
I would hope the production studios would be like, you should bring extra clothes because slime is a thing here at Nickelodeon Studios. So
Yeah.
look out for that. Be prepared for that.
Like they have to
Yeah.
have showers or something. I mean, it's Universal Studios.
Well, you walk into the
yeah.
shower, you turn it on, and there's just more slime.
What cruel fate!
No, you need to get the anti-slime shower. It's over there. It's across the hall.
Yeah.
Or it just clogs the drain so you have it just pooling at your feet.
Yeah, it just fills up to your neck.
Like, well, this is the end.
Right.
Death by Nickelodeon slime.
Thanks, I hate it.
I hate it so much. What else was I going to talk about? Yeah, and then like you were talking about when you said GAC, I mean, obviously this went into like the consumer market and products a lot because I read there was apparently a Fisher-Price shampoo that was called Slime that was...
I think
Really?
I remember that because it was like Nickelodeon themed and it was slime green. And
Yeah, and it probably had like an orange cap. I don't remember it, but yeah.
well, everything Nickelodeon was orange, so yes.
Right, yes. It has to have
Especially
their
the VHS tapes. Yep.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
were so awesome. Snow Day I had.
Snow Day, that's the
Yeah.
one. That's the one, yes.
Everybody had that, I feel
Everyone
like.
had Snow Day. Everyone had Rugrats.
Yeah,
Rugrats
that
in
refers-
Paris.
Yeah, this is the Paris
Yep.
one. It's always the Paris one.
Yeah. And
Oh,
It was the
I'm
first
orange.
one for our house. I think we had both. Anyway, getting off topic.
Yeah.
and then, yeah, there was like GAC and there was a bunch of other like slime-like substances. I can't remember. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
I want to say GAC had a bigger
There was like
presence.
Floam or
Floam,
something. Floam,
yes.
yeah.
Floam,
I remember
yep.
Floam was one of the home products, but I want to say GAC had a presence in the shows.
Yeah.
At some point.
It might have too. Because I was just looking for exclusively slime content, but. And obviously, like all these kind of things were advertised on Nickelodeon, so there was slime
Yeah.
in the shows, and then on the commercials.
Just quick Google search on GAC. Those interstitials you were talking about where people get slimed. There was a block that was prime time technically, but it was Slime Time Live.
Yes,
That
that's
ran
the
from
one I was thinking. Yes.
Okay.
2000 to 2003. Wild and
That's
Crazy
funny.
Kids is on this list. It's the best game shows. Because, yeah, they would do, like, little events in those interstitial times.
Right.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Where is... Like... Okay, Wild and Crazy... not Wild and Crazy Kids, but... What Would You Do had some things that were filled with GAC. Trying to find the block. Okay, I'm sorry. Family Double Dare had like a big GAC-filled mouth with the Down the Hatch challenge. So like Gak was present in the it looks like just Double Dare is where Gak came from, but it's a different thing than slime because it's a lot more viscous, sticks together. It's like what
pretty sure
Oobleck is Gak, yes.
Yeah, because where I went to school in Missouri, it was always called Oobleck, and when I moved here to Illinois, everyone's like, "What the hell is Oobleck?" And I explain it, and then they say, "Oh, it's Gak." I'm like, "What the hell is Gak?" And there's just that disconnect there. But yeah. The Gak is just cornstarch and water for the most part, non-Newtonian fluid. Try it; it's fun.
I prefer that term.
Non-Newtonian fluid. I love that our kids call it that too. It's great.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun episode of Mythbusters when they like have a whole like swimming pool filled with the cornstarch and water, and they try to like run across it.
Mm-hmm.
Oobleck, huh? So yeah, I guess Gak's more like that. Yeah, like obviously not edible, and like the more like what you'd make at home.
Yeah.
Like I guess you could eat it. It just wouldn't be very pleasant.
No.
At all.
There was a type of slime that we made, I want to say in 6th grade, that was, like, I remember the main component was Mule Team Borax?
Borax, yeah.
Is that another variety of Oobleck, or is that supposed
Borax
to be more runny?
Borax is something else.
Yeah, but it did basically the same kind of thing, but I don't think it necessarily made...
I want to say it was more slimy than... It wasn't non-Newtonian. I want to say that was more like slime.
Like the stuff that like you put it back in a cup and it goes... Yeah, it was that.
Yeah. Yes, that, exactly.
Yep.
You can pull that clip out and just randomly put Kyle's...
Well, like, if you bought Gak, that's what Gak was, though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it came like in a container that was shaped like a splat, I remember.
Yes.
Yep.
I had a I think you and I got a container around the same time, Jake.
Yes. And I probably put it in
at
Kyle's
the
hair.
same time.
You probably did.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
You're welcome.
Anyway.
What was the other thing? Yeah, it's talking about like more products. There was apparently a slime cereal.
Oh.
Wait,
why? What, did it just like make your milk green or something?
I think, turn your milk green, and it was just like...
it's like Riptar
Captain
cereal.
Crunch kind of cereal, except it was like splat shaped. That was green, and it had orange blimp marshmallows. And
that sounds so unappetizing.
I know, it just did not look good. Which is probably why I do not remember it, because I don't think it was around for very long.
The 90s were weird.
Repress.
90s were weird.
And I feel like it's something you could buy on eBay for, $40 a box or something.
Hey, they tried.
Way expired.
Right.
Just for the box, though. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys remember any other, I think there was a ketchup.
Yeah, they had the green ketchup.
That
was
more
of the
just
Heinz color thing.
Yeah, that was.
I know
Heinz
had a run of colored ketchups.
Yeah, because they had green, purple, and I think pink.
Yes, those sound right.
Yeah, but the green one came first, and it looked like relish. So it would be very easy to prank people with it at the barbecues.
It looked gross.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would not touch that, ever.
No.
No
Especially
thanks.
now.
Yeah. And especially for you, Kyle. Do you remember? Because you didn't or do not like ketchup.
I still don't. I like it as
fine.
an ingredient in things, but as a topping, no.
Yeah. And so was that worse for you when it was colored green and purple, do you think?
I was indifferent.
You were like, I'm just not going to eat it regardless.
I'm just not going to eat this.
Some people don't like ketchup. I can eat ketchup on a burger, but I don't use it for fries. Unless I have to be in the mood for that specifically. But having it be purple or green or pink, that's a
No.
heck no from me. Thank you.
No. Yeah.
No.
But I can see that being I can see Nickelodeon having done that for sure. And as a kid, I totally would have been in on that. I love Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's just the point of this whole thing is we have a lot of fond memories of Nickelodeon. So seeing slime, hearing about slime, it brings us all back.
Yeah.
At least just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Hashtag only 90s kids remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, honestly, I wouldn't mind I liked that Nickelodeon had kid-focused game shows and stuff. Like, if it weren't for the stuff that Nickelodeon produced, I wouldn't have watched Game Show Network as a kid and, like, watched a bunch of 70s and 80s game shows. I loved that. And I think they also had a lot of, like, educational things and stuff that gave kids aspirations, because they saw kids their age doing things that they could aspire to as well. Like, I think there's value in that. I wouldn't mind if Nickelodeon brought those types of shows back and brought slime along with it, because that kind of humor, like, really grips kids.
When you started mentioning, what's in the slime and how they used food, that reminded me of the Got Milk ads, and how the milk mustaches weren't actually milk. They had to add so many other things to make it stick like that.
Glue.
Like,
I'm kidding.
Some weird, inedible concoction of food products. No thanks. But
yeah,
I could imagine slime being like that.
Yeah.
But green.
Yeah. And people would say, like they said, like it would usually stain your clothes too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just
don't wear something you like.
No.
Right. Aww. What else was I gonna say? So, and then I was looking up, like, because you always would see like kids going to like Orlando Studios and getting slimed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to find, like, can you still go anywhere and get slimed? There used to be a Nickelodeon Studios theme park, but that closed in 2004, and it was in Orlando. And yeah, slime was like a big thing there.
Was there a reason why it closed, other than just business?
I think just, business.
Like, Nickelodeon started moving away from all that stuff in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, and they started doing more just, I feel like, either cartoons or, like, teen, like, sitcom kind of things, like iCarly, and, like, that
Drake and
era.
Josh.
Yeah, it just started directly competing with, like, Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Basically, because Disney Channel got really huge around that time.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, then that's like, I was reading that they kind of, like, phased out the slime thing, and, like, especially they said, like, after 2012, so I think, like, Nickelodeon kind of went, like, on a downturn at that point because of the Disney Channel, and because, like, more kids were just watching stuff on YouTube, I think, at that point.
Yeah, that's around the time YouTube really spiked off. Not to mention, like, Nickelodeon didn't have anything to compete with Disney Channel original movies, which, that's a whole topic right there that I'd like to talk about sometime, because, like, you either watch that stuff and you knew, or you don't. But Nickelodeon had no equivalent, and if you want to be honest, in the TV space, Disney Channel was their main competitor.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, until, like, I don't know, a lot later, like, Cartoon Network was, like, exclusively cartoons.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think, the Disney Channel.
Wait, are they not anymore?
Well, no, I mean, I think, like, some of, like, the Adult Swim stuff had, like, live action.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
But,
I haven't had television in 10 years, so excuse me for my ignorance.
And all the old stuff went to Boomerang.
Right.
You mean all the good stuff?
All the good stuff.
That's just me being curmudgeonly.
Yep, you old man.
And see, I don't know if they had it last year, but yeah, I was trying to find, like, where could you go to get slimed. I guess there is still a Nickelodeon Studios, like, hotel in Orlando, where, like, if you go to, like, their pool and they have, like, events there, you can get slimed.
That's
and then
neat.
Apparently starting in 2012 in Australia, and then in 2018 in Chicago, there's this thing called Slime Fest. So it's kind of like, not a Comic-Con, but a similar kind of thing for slime.
This is
so
Nickelodeon
really
Fun to get
slime.
messy.
Yeah, I know. People really, I guess there are, like, a certain set of people that are really enthusiastic about it. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if I would want to go to it, but
No.
it's cool that it's out there.
Not even
You can
just
watch it on
not to
YouTube.
experience once.
Well, yeah, I maybe do it once.
Oh,
That's
holy
true.
crap. I forgot. I got slimed as a kid.
Oh, you did?
Nickelodeon had an event in St. Louis that we went to, and like,
Obviously, you've repressed it.
I didn't get like slime like on top of me,
Terrible.
but they had like a slime flow in it, and you could stick your hands in it, and like
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, because like they had like live stuff going on at a stage. Like a cut down version of Legends of the Hidden Temple, which was the whole reason I wanted to go in the first place. I was like 2nd or 3rd grade. Yeah, no, I felt slime at least.
Whoa, like official slime.
Yeah, like it was an actual Nickelodeon event. I'll try to see if there's any pictures of that. Anyway, no, it just
pretty cool.
trigger that memory.
Yeah, I got to
Show
see
notes,
pictures of you
notes.
with your hands in slime.
Oh,
That'd be
you know, it'd
cool.
be like the most
exist.
prestige thing. Like if one of us just had a bucket fall on our head right now.
Start the
Kyle,
sirens.
look
Here
at
we
her
go.
head.
Not here.
You
Just
ruined my
a-
microphone, man.
Just a boring
Maybe
white
if we
ceiling.
ever get into like doing a Twitch stream for this podcast, we can set up something like
would be
that.
We will make our own slime.
Hey, we know how to make it now. Jake's given us the recipe. We have the power.
Oh,
So are we
applesauce
gonna
and
do the
oatmeal.
OG slime with the mold and everything, or are we
No,
going the
the
safer
vanilla pudding.
version?
Take the
Vanilla
top
pudding
layer
route
off
for
the
sure.
Slop. Yeah, that would be the most appealing to me. Yeah, and then-
Okay,
Vanilla pudding
Jake
or the
wants
slop?
that one.
It was kind of
How-
unclear.
Jake wants the moldy slop.
I want the
Got
moldy
it.
slop.
Yeah.
Slime mold.
Oh, so bad, so gross.
You are the bravest among us, Jake.
Yeah. And I'll have to post that clip from You Can't Do That on Television
Please.
Yes,
where they get
Please.
slime. Because, yeah, it's a kid like in a medieval dungeon, but there's a toilet, and when he flushes it, it just pours on his head. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
It's
no!
gross.
Oh,
No.
in context, it's worse.
I will have to
This
look
kid's
up
gonna be afraid of bathrooms.
this kid that's like, you know,
That kid had to be traumatized.
How old was this kid?
50 now. Yeah, I mean, he was probably like 10 at that point, so 79. Yeah, he'd be like 50 now.
That's still traumatic as heck. No.
Yeah. That is sad.
Wow.
I didn't really think about it until I started talking about it out loud.
Like, I get that they probably had them sign consent forms, but how do you really know what you're getting into like that when you're 10?
Yeah, that was like
Oh,
the first
no.
time it ever happened. Yeah, I know.
Just, no.
I hate everything about that.
I know. It's,
The
yeah.
poor kid.
It
or
was the 80s.
old person
huh?
now.
Yeah,
It
late
was
70s.
good
Regulations,
for
who
Yeah,
cares?
who knows?
What am regulatories?
Oh, yeah.
He's
don't
the
know.
reason there's regulation.
Yeah.
That one kid. Darn you, kid.
Yeah, the slime accords, yeah.
It's 1979.
Back in my day, slime was real food, and you didn't
Real
know what it was.
You liked it.
Oh no!
You wore that slime like a badge of honor.
Slime wasn't just like cheap candy. It was real substance. And,
Grit.
yeah,
I can't
True
believe they-
grit and
There were probably
gristle.
some grits in there, yeah.
and sweat.
Yeah.
Eh.
Creamily. So gross.
That's so
No.
bad.
And I didn't know how close, you guys are watching the Super Bowl. There was like a section where they had like a augmented reality part, like an overlay on the screen where they were doing like kick a football into like the SpongeBob
Those
uprights.
guys to the SpongeBob
I
uprights.
saw that
What
one.
the
That was
heck?
cool.
And then they had like slime that was going on the field, but it was
Yeah.
like an advertisement for the SpongeBob like content that's on Paramount.
Yeah, the new show or movie or something.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm not gonna watch that. But yeah, I just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna talk about that.
Wasn't
And
there?
yeah, we have Sweet Victory finally made it to the Super Bowl a little bit more properly. Thanks, Paramount.
Right? Yes.
Am I wrong in remembering that there was a football game that was broadcast on Nickelodeon, like an NFL
There
game
was.
that was,
Earlier this year, they had the streaming rights
huh?
Wow.
or the broadcast
I didn't
rights
realize
to
that.
one of the episodes. I remember reading that up.
Wow,
That's interesting.
it's really weird.
Really expanding their content horizons.
I
Right.
guess so.
Unlike Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bye
which is
Netflix.
just getting squeezed of all of its value, or
That's getting a real squeeze.
sucked away from them to other services. However you want to look at it. Yeah.
Sad.
I don't know if that's a
thing-
slurping or sliming.
Why not both?
So yeah, the last thing I saw that I thought was funny was that, and they have like the Kids' Choice Awards for Nickelodeon, and like celebrities that get slimed, and like in the interviews they're like, a lot of the celebrities like getting slimed, but there was an interview that the Double Dare host Mark Summers did for Food and Wine. He was doing an interview with Steven Spielberg about when he was on the Kids' Choice Awards, and apparently Steven Spielberg hated it, and he said it felt like my son threw up on me.
Yeah, having babies thrown up all over me, I can understand that being incredibly unpleasant.
I can attest.
That's more warm than cold. Did they give him warm slime?
I don't know.
Like, it depends how long into the show, I guess. Like, if it had time to thaw.
If it's lukewarm, I can see that.
Yeah, that would be gross. But yeah.
Well, even, like, baby vomit can be cold if it's right after they feed. No, like right after they have their formula or milk or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's still, they haven't digested it at all yet.
Oh yeah,
it can still be cold. So yeah, I can see that similarity, and I don't like it, and this is making me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is getting gross. We need to move on to something else. But thank you for Slime Facts. I would like to subscribe to Slime Facts.
Slime Facts.
Hashtag
so
Slime
we're at
Facts.
Slime streaming service. I want to sign up right now.
Yep, it's going to be like, go on BuzzFeed, and it's like 10 things you didn't know about slime.
Slime Premier Plus. Only $15.99 a month.
If Nickelodeon doesn't already have a streaming service, it should just be Slime TV.
Yeah, it should be.
It should be, but it sounds like Nickelodeon's content's going to this Paramount Plus.
Yeah, because I think it's like a Viacom that owns all of the...
Yeah, it is.
It's like CBS Viacom or something like that. I think they merged.
Yep.
That's very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I thought so.
No.
All right, someone change the topic, please. I'm getting
not sure how to transition from that. Just
maybe I should have gone
ooze on to the next one. All right, so my topic is more of like personal experience. So, do you guys have any skills, weird or not, that you've pursued after being inspired by either a video game or tabletop game? I know Kyle got his dance moves by tilting game cartridges, and he's already told us all about that. But does anyone else have any like real skills that were inspired by a game? And I have one. If you want me to start.
You should start. Yeah, and I'll think about it while you are talking.
Yeah, I want to say I've got something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I actually went to architecture school because I enjoyed building houses on The Sims.
Really? That's why you went to architecture classes?
Yes, because I was introduced to The Sims in 5th grade at a book fair. One of my classmates told me something about the game. I tried it, and I liked building houses. I liked putting like weird challenges and constraints on myself, like, hey, this family only has this kind of budget, or I need to build this, and this to this theme. And that actually really helped having done that in architecture school, especially when we had weird themed projects we had to do. So that was a weird thing that I pursued because of a game.
I never knew that's why you were in those classes, and that's why you went that way in college. Mm-hmm. I had no idea.
Yep.
How did I not know this? Anyway.
You never asked. I guess you still haven't, but hey, it's a freebie.
Just roast me alive. Okay, that's fine.
Absolutely.
I guess if I had to pick any one skill, like, I kind of got into like IT and just like computer related stuff, like putting parts together and stuff a lot because of like the MechWarrior series and how you could like build your own mechs. The level of customization got me into PC building when I was a teen, and kind of drove my my interest in taking things apart and putting them back together. I really liked being able to customize and trying different combinations of parts and seeing how they work together. So that drove a lot of my tinkering skills. I feel like small electronics, even, up to basic car maintenance, beyond not just the need to do the maintenance, but like actually doing repairs, swapping out bad parts for good, computers, small electronics, anything like that. I feel like a lot of that was driven by my love for the MechWarrior games when I was young. Because also MechWarrior was like the game I tried to run on every PC that I built once I started collecting people's old dead computers.
I remember
and
this.
Building a computer lab in my basement when I was in high school. So if I had to pick out a life skill, that would probably be it. I can't think of anything else, really. I don't know. Not because of a game. Maybe because, like, can we broaden it to, like, from, like, movies and TV, too?
Yeah, like, if you don't have anything else from a game specifically, sure.
I don't have anything, I was just asking.
Oh, well, you're lame. What you got, Kyle?
Turn.
Yeah, I could say that some of my passion for a certain set of sports would have branched immediately from that. And I got a feeling that Jake's right on board with this too.
The marble races?
Oh, not just that, but circa 1992 in the Genesis, we had PGA Tour 2. I believe that's what it was. The golf game. Yeah, I have to imagine single-handedly is responsible for me having an interest in golf and pursuing that kind of stuff whenever I was younger, like somewhere between being 8 and 12. And it's still something
that... PGA Tour
oh my
too.
gosh, yeah, we did.
I forgot you guys played golf like that.
Oh yeah, and between that and some of the Tiger Woods games, kind of really helped to reinforce that. Especially when it became more arcade-based. It was just a fun, cool experience, and it was nice to translate that to real life and develop a love for it that way. And even now, just watching the sport, I know it's can be really droll, but I love watching golf. I really do. That and Mario Tennis fueled my love for playing tennis as well.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jake, but
you're fine.
We were both on
another
one.
I hadn't even thought about sports. Yeah, I guess I could say I like wrestling because of Def Jam Vendetta back in the day with my brother.
But did you develop that skill?
I mean, when my brother needed to be put in his place, I could do a mean suplex when I needed. I mean, that was my obligation as the older sibling, right?
Fair enough. Jake, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was going to go off. Yeah, I was going to say because of like playing, I think it was like Virtua Tennis or something on the PS3. I got into like tennis for a little bit, like after college, but was never that good at it.
Yeah, Kyle and I used to get together and play every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then I think like the biggest one, and I mean this is like a whole cultural thing, was when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater came out.
Oh my gosh!
Everybody tried to learn how to skateboard.
Yeah, I mean I had one.
A phenomenon.
And I tried to learn.
Yeah, it was just a fail.
Never successful, but tried to develop it at least.
Yeah. I feel like had we had the kind of YouTube content we have now to learn things, we probably would have been more successful. But like in middle school, absolutely, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk and the SXX tricky games, trying to snowboard.
Yeah, I actually did try to snowboard because of SSX. I was fairly good at it before I broke my wrist and never tried it again. Mm-hmm. But
I ended up like in a thorn bush at the bottom of my hill.
Yeah,
but I did try.
if I were to try like going to skiing again or snowboarding, I would definitely pick up snowboarding again because I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot more accessible for me than skiing, and I tried it because of SSX. It just seemed cooler. But like I got into bowling fairly young, mostly because of computer games that had bowling. Like, yes, our parents bowled, our mothers bowled a lot, and I watched that. But like after playing it on a computer a couple times, I got a lot more interest in it.
Was it elf bowling?
No, it was
I remember that
green
one.
bowling game. And I don't know. I don't remember if I got put into bowling class before or after that. I know I took a class. I did like a once a week thing over a summer. But like, I liked bowling games as a kid, and I still do it to this day anytime we get the chance. And I'm okay at it, but I guess that would qualify as a skill that was maybe not pursued because of a game, but my pursuit was continued because of engagement through games.
Would you say the same about pinball after playing Space Cadet Pinball?
Or Creep Night?
Not Space Cadet Pinball. That would not be the one. It would be the Maxis 3D Ultra Pinball. Would be the one that really drove my love for pinball machines. Specifically the castle, outside the castle board. On that one. It's an old PC game. I will try to find screenshots. But I don't know. I can't think of any other real life skills other than like being inspired to build Lego sets because I played Lego Island a bunch.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I feel like with that I was the opposite. Like I was into Legos and then got the game because I liked Legos so much.
Oh, the game was a trip though. Ugh.
Still is a trip. Looking back.
And then like as far as like hobbies go, like I learned how to play Magic the Gathering through the PC game before I ever played with the actual cards.
Yes.
Got into it for a spell.
Yeah, we did.
Ah, nice.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Was it an instant or sorcery?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Too.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of the video games. Absolutely. We got
like
into those.
Like the Game Boy Advance game for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. God, I played so much of that.
Such a fun game. The video games were good. But I can't think of anything else as far as like sports or real life skills I would have picked up. Because
I'm happy to hear that you're not into like world domination after playing Risk or monopolizing capitalism after Monopoly.
I think if anything, I started dabbling in like I played a bit of bass and guitar for a little bit just because like I knew I needed a hobby and I had liked the Guitar Hero games. I'm not super proficient with guitar or bass or even like a git bass or bassitar, where you have the strings so you can just slam across for a chord. But like I can play around on them, and that was kind of inspired by those.
Yeah, I bought one of those keyboard extensions for like what was it, Rock Band, because I thought that would help me with my piano skills. But I just like super hard. I just never want. It was so hard. Even the easy ones were just like they were a grind. So I kind of stopped that immediately. It was kind of a waste of my money, but oh well.
I guess I could say I did line dancing after DDR. Along those lines.
Yeah.
God, DDR.
Yeah, I feel like Sarah with your architecture and Dylan, especially like trying to get like StarCraft and stuff to work on LAN. You, like out of necessity into networking.
I think it's my whole getting into PCs was kind of jump started by MechWarrior, but I think my getting into it was more driven by the fact that I wanted to play games with my friends on computers, and I had access to hardware people didn't want anymore, and I would try to, as Jake told me a number of times, make it work. Make it work. Like, there were so many times I can remember, like, someone would say, well, you're the guy, make it work.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, that's how my computer came to fruition, so thank you.
You're welcome.
And mine.
Jake. I'm just kidding.
Got my own now.
Oh,
Jake got his own.
Broke the chain.
Jake has branched out.
Oh.
It's all good. No, I hadn't thought about like where my life skills come from, and like, I guess to a certain degree, like popular media in general does inspire people to pursue certain things or to at least try stuff.
Absolutely.
So cool. All right, guys, we ready to cap this one off?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for listening to the 10th episode of our podcast. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. We will have our show notes. We'll have our show notes available at WeMightBeNerds.com, which is mostly show notes at this point. I'm sorry, it's all show notes, but maybe some other content will pop up on there. If you want to contact us, reach out. We can be reached at WeMightBeNerdsPod@gmail.com. You can find us on @MightBeNerdsPod on Twitter and Facebook. I do actually have a plug for this week, or a recommendation, if I can pull it out. I saw a very interesting video on how old video game consoles actually were a TV station. So I would recommend, if you have interest in old video game consoles or like just TV broadcasting technology that was brought into the home, look up "Why Is Your NES a TV Station? That's Weird" by Cathode Ray Dude on YouTube. Very interesting, pretty technical stuff, but very also very accessible. I will have a link to that in the recommendation section of the show notes.
Informative.
Super informative,
Great
super
channel.
fun. Any other recommendations? Alrighty then.
Nope.
Alright, well, thank you again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Our next episode will be released on February 22nd. I'm Dylan Critchfield.
I'm Kyle Montgomery.
I'm Sarah Critchfield.
I'm Jacob Montgomery.
Thank you for listening to We Might Be Nerds. We'll see you in the next one.
And if you enjoyed this episode,
You might be a nerd too.
Yay.
Yay! You might be a nerd.
Catch you next time.